Excellent. Isabella, if you want to make sure you're unmuted, and Sarai, that you're also unmuted. And I think we're going to go ahead and start. Good morning, everybody. We're going to cover a couple housekeeping items first, but we're very excited to be able to present this webinar today, provide some additional information about this very interesting and important project that we're coordinating for the World Congress on Justice with Children. My name is Douglas Keeler. I'm the director of Juvenile Justice Advocates International. We are an advocacy and human rights organization focusing on the youth justice system or the juvenile justice system in the Americas. So in the United States and Mexico, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, we've had projects in other parts of the Americas as well. And we welcome everyone who's able to join us here today. If you log in, you should have an option to choose the language you would like to hear the presentation in today. So we have live interpretation in Portuguese and in Spanish, or you'll hear me in English. So you can go ahead and choose your language. We also, I think we'll have be able to handle doing some Q&As as well. The presentation should only be about 15 or 20 minutes long. It's not too much information, but we wanted to make sure we have a chance to hear your questions as well. So you can either use the chat for the questions, or you can go ahead and raise your hand and we can unmute you. That may take just an extra minute, but we love the opportunity to hear from folks as well. So that may be a little tricky with the interpreting. I believe the questions would just be in English if you do the audio questions. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started and talk through this project a little bit. So the first thing is just a brief introduction about our organization. As I mentioned, we work across the Americas on reducing the use of incarceration for youth and children who are in the justice system. So we'd invite you to visit our website, jjadvocates.org. It's in both Spanish and English. And we'll be dropping some links in the chat as well as we go on. And we'd love to connect with you, hear more about your work, where you're at as well, and connect with you if you're planning on attending the World Congress in Madrid. I think all three of us who are on the call here, Isabella, Sarai, and myself, will all be in Madrid in June. So that would be a great opportunity as well. Our organization has worked on, well, the bulk of our work is around helping local courts, local justice systems, create alternatives and improve the operation of the justice system. We also have worked on a number of art and photography projects, both with youth and their families as subjects of the work, and also as the people creating the artwork. And so we have the opportunity to collaborate with the World Congress on Justice with Children this year in bringing art from youth from around the world and presenting it at the Congress. We think it's incredibly important to hear children's voices, hear their perspectives on their interactions in the justice system, and that's why we're all in this work. So the Congress, we'd invite you to check out the Congress's website. It's justicewithchildren.org, and it's available in multiple languages. It's going to be held, I believe, June 2nd through June 4th in Madrid, Spain. And there will be hundreds of national leaders, regional leaders, nonprofits, civil society organizations, government entities represented at the Congress. So after the last Congress being virtual, I think everyone's pretty excited to have this Congress be in person. The theme of this year's World Congress is Advancing Child-Centered Justice, Preventing and Responding to Violence Affecting Children in the Child Justice Systems. And so just to give you a little bit of context, I believe some of the information is already out about the other thematic areas and specific areas of the conference. So it really covers the gamut of any involvement that children have in the justice system. Specifically the art exhibit or the art showcase that we are looking to put together and bring to the Congress is really about having the voice of children who are involved in the justice system present there. There's a youth council or child council that's providing input to the Congress, and I'm sure we'll hear from them at the Congress, but it's also just another opportunity to hear the voice of children. So in particular, we're looking at youth who've been detained or who are detained, showcasing their experience. So that can range from anything from kind of their how they want to represent themselves, their lives, their dreams, their creativity, and really focusing on breaking stereotypes, reducing the stigma that is associated with youth who are in the justice system. But it's really broad. So I would say that if you have or know of art that has been produced by youth who are or have been involved with the justice system, that we want to have an opportunity to showcase that art. We are looking for people to submit the art by May 1st. So that gives us about 3 more weeks, a little over 3 more weeks to collect that artwork. And the objective is going to be to reproduce the art. So to have a good high quality photograph of the art. So whether it's a painting, a drawing, if it is actually maybe a photograph that the youth have created, a picture of a mural, sculpture, whatever the actual artwork is. The idea is for us, we'll be reprinting those photographs in Madrid and then exhibiting them in a designated space there. Along with the art, we also would like to have a short description that is, if possible, and I know it's sometimes complicated, but if possible, that there's a short description written by the youth about the artwork itself. It can be a technical description. It can be, explaining what it represents to the youth. It can, in their own words, what they'd like to share about that piece of art and why they made it. And so that piece, I think, is for us is just as important as the actual artwork itself, to have their interpretation of it. So I'm going to drop into the chat here and the link. At this point, it's just a Google form for you to go ahead and fill out. So the Google form will have information about how the art, where this is from. Obviously, we don't, and maybe it's not obvious, so I'll just explicitly say we won't be sharing identifying information about the youth. So their names, ages. If you want to specify like like a pen name, if you want to specify an alias, that's fine. Just specify that it is an alias. Otherwise, the art will be anonymous. We also could use initials or like the first letter of their name is fine, but we won't be sharing their names. So we want to always be careful with that piece, and any art that actually shows the youth's face, we also can't use that as well. So if it is a photograph of their face, we can't use it. If there's, for example, if our youth did an art project that's a mask and they wear the mask and the photograph is taken, that's as long as we can't identify them, it's clear that they'll be anonymous. So I think those are the main pieces right there in the form. You can upload a photograph, but if you have any trouble at all with utilizing the form, in the email that you got for either for this webinar or for submitting the art, there should be email addresses. I'm going to go ahead and put Isabella. You can email Isabella. You can email me as well, and then Amani. Any one of us or all of us, if you have any trouble or for some reason the form doesn't work or you have other questions. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Our emails are right there in the PowerPoint. Great. So that's really the bulk of the presentation. There's one other piece that I will share with folks, and I'll drop another link. If you just want to get a better idea of kind of what are some examples of what we could be talking about. So there is an art exhibit that our organization put together with the National Museum of Mexican Art in Chicago in the United States, along with the Mexico City juvenile justice system. We can, here, I'll show you, let's see. Just an example of some of the art um, that we'll be bringing. Actually, we'll be bringing some of this art to Madrid. So different paintings that were created by youth, and then actual, the descriptions of the youth, but the descriptions of the art by the youth artists. Great. So at this point, I would go ahead and open it up to any questions that folks have. If it seems like maybe we're having trouble getting the link to appear in the chat. We will, what we'll do is we'll make sure we email out the the link for the form to everybody who registered for the webinar. So we'll get that out right away. Here when the webinar is done, if for some reason that link isn't showing up in the chat. And I apologize for that. I don't know if it's maybe a security measure on Zoom that it's not letting us share that link. Let's see.
Sorry, Douglas, should we just ask people if they can confirm they have the link and they can confirm it via the chat?
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll try it. I'll try it in a little different format too. Here's another link. Are people able to see that link in the chat? I might drop it on my screen.
Felix Holman has his hand raised.
Oh, thank you.
Hi. I'm Felix, but I'm actually not a man, but no problem. Lovely to meet you, Douglas. Thank you for putting this session on. I've got a very quick question. I've jumped on this call. I'm the CEO of the Consortium for Street Children. And of course, access to justice is a very kind of critical issue for that cohort of children. Would you be comfortable with me sharing the opportunity for Street Connected Children to contribute to this artwork collection?
Like absolutely.
I can do that through we have a network bulletin.
Oh, great. Yeah, that would be excellent.
Yeah, so all I would need is that I'm sorry, I jumped on late and all the slide decks in Spanish. If you maybe could message me with just a summary and then I can send the Google form link in that
Yep.
summary.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so right when we jump off, we'll grab everyone's emails that they registered for, get all the links to get the detailed information for
Great.
you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, if there's any other questions, I'll see if I can drop
There's
this.
Wahid.
Wahid. Oh, how good to see you, Wahid.
Thank you, Douglas, for your kind invitation and email. So I just have a question. First, I introduced to my other colleagues. My name is Wahid Ahmed. I'm advocate and chairman Child Protection Committee of Lahore Bar Association, Pakistan. So, can you guide me how long the story you want? Because I visited jail and we had some art competition inside the jail.
Yeah.
So I asked him, they draw. So they sometimes the child share a long story because one of them shared that he draw the place of occurrence. He told me that he was arrested from this place and there was a bike, there was a school, mosque, and police was there. So he shared a very long story with me. So do you have any like words? How many
Like a,
words you want
yeah.
to draw the story?
Um, I don't remember if the form where you fill out has a limit. I want to say it maybe is 250 words. But I think keeping it around somewhere around that will be would be would be best, around 250 words. Um, yeah, and as far as the number, if you have participated in that kind of like we have a number of pieces of art from the project in Mexico City, for example, or Wahid in your case, where you have maybe have a number of pieces of art. What we're gonna do is that we're just gonna have to select just a couple of those. We are limited to how many pieces we can have at the Congress. And so if you do have like a large number of art pieces, I would say either you go ahead and try to narrow that down, maybe five, um, somewhere around five would probably be ideal, so that then we don't have to, that you're making those decisions and we're not having to make those decisions on that end. Um, the total number, we're not sure what the total number is right now because it's not clear what physical space we'll have. The Congress is still working that out. So, we hope to have as many as possible there, but it could be limited. It could be limited to 30 or 40 art pieces. Um, and and we also just have to see what the response is that we get from these outreaches. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we can select the first. We can select the art, and then I can also share the story of each around 250 words. So then you can decide which one is good, and so
Okay.
it's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Wahid. It's nice to connect with you live. Great. Well, I did.
There's a question. Sorry, there's a
Yeah.
question in Portuguese in the chat box. I don't know if Isabella will translate for you.
Yeah, Isabella, do you want to? If you switch back over to English, Isabella, then I can hear your translation. Oh, the question is about the theme, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
I
the
think it's
question is about
asking if
the
there's
team,
specific
and if there's
theme
any specific material for the
or
creation
specific
of the
material.
art piece. Um,
Yeah. So there isn't. So it could be again, what we'll be able to present there will be a photograph of the piece of art. So if you had something that's more visual moving, like a video, at this point, we don't believe we'll have an opportunity to have like a video display. Or if it's more of a physical, like a sculpture or a physical, a mask that they've created or some sort of, it's going to have to be a photograph, or it would be possible if you need to do a photograph of more than one side of it, that we could, have both images that show those different aspects of a physical piece. But it will need to be a photograph of whatever the piece of art that it is. So other than that, there isn't really any other limitations. So other types of art, like music or a song or things like that, we don't believe that we'll have the uh, technological capacity at the Congress to reproduce that type of art. So it's got to be something you can take a picture of. As far as the theme, anything related, if you look at the World Congress, anything related to the themes of the World Congress, is kind of open for this project. All right. Well, if there's other questions, this is your chance. I put a URL on the screen, and so if you can copy that down for whatever reason it's not working to drop it in the chat. We'll email that out to everyone as well right now. We'll post at some point, we'll post the video as well of this webinar. So if people want to share this with other folks, they'll be able to do that. And we'll get you out the details. And so we look forward to hearing from you. Again, if you have any questions or problems with submitting your art, please do email us. Yeah, I think Felix has a great point. So, we're reaching out to as many contacts as we can to try to solicit art from different parts of the world. And I think it's important that we have a good representation. So not just the US, not just Latin America. And so we're excited to see our friends from Europe, from South Asia on the call here. And we strongly encourage folks to get art from other and sometimes less represented parts of the globe. Thanks, Felix. Yeah. Well, very exciting. I hope to see as many of you as possible in Madrid. Please come up and talk to us when you see us. And if I know it can be very complicated and difficult for people to travel, so if that's not possible as well, then we will, with a lot of pride and humility, be able to have your presence there through the art that you're sharing with us. So we thank everybody who's been part of this, and we hope to connect with you again soon and have a wonderful Tuesday.